Hey y'all, it's me. It's your girl. And you already know. Like, share, and subscribe. That's real deal. How y'all doing? And y'all know about the sign coming in. I'm coming in with it, right? Let's keep it real. All right, y'all, we're going to get into a recap. We're going to get into a recap tonight, okay? Y'all kind of like work with me, okay? We're going to get into a recap on YNW Melly. And the reason why we got to get on the YNW Melly case is his trial about to come up, okay? His trial about to come up, and we got to put this man where he's supposed to be. Jamel Maurice Demond, known professionally as YNW Melly, listened attentively during opening statement of his double murder trial on Monday, June the 9th, 2023, okay, in Fort Lauderdale. What's going to happen right here? Prosecutors alleged that rapper YNW Melly was behind the murder of his two childhood best friends. Allegedly, but he was in the car with him, okay? Though they have yet to provide a motive for the killings. Now, the only motive I can say for the killing is the $500,000, okay? One bit the father, however, says he has an idea. The murder on my mind, rapper, whose real name is Jamel Demond, is accused of gunning down his childhood friends, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., in an alleged drive-by cover-up. After spending the night of October 26, 2018, at a Fort Lauderdale recording studio. Who spends the night? Who spends the night at a recording studio? Come on, real deal. Y'all got to get up on y'all job. Y'all don't slack down on me. Who spends the night? Come on now. Who spends the night at a studio and go to sleep? That's not a safe place to go. That's not a studio. It's not a safe place to fall asleep. Defendant Cortland Henry, known as YNW Portland, was also arrested and charged with the murder. Now, I want to share something with y'all. I think this murder setup was outrage. You got Cortland bring two unalive bodies to the hospital where you could have called ambulance where you standing at. Okay, you got Melly don't jump out the car, went somewhere. Melly trial, which comes already started, is ongoing. They already getting a new jury and everything. Okay, let's finish up. Christopher Thomas and Christopher Thomas Sr., Christopher Thomas Jr. father, told Law and Crime on Wednesday that he believed Melly was behind the double murder. Now, I believe Melly was behind. I allegedly believe Melly was behind the double murder also due to the fact of money. Money don't like people. Because the tight-knit trio were planning to sell the YNW brand for marketing and licensing purposes around the world. So y'all got to understand, when you sell a brand, you get money off of it. They were going to split the money. Melly wanted all the money. Okay? So what we're gonna do is, since I gave y'all that information, we're gonna go ahead on and listen to this.
Moving on to the next photograph. What are we looking at here?
This is Detective Mark Moretti with the search warrant for the vehicle.
The vehicle in question, what is it?
It was a Jeep Compass.
Is that the same that's indicated on that photo in the red lettered writing?
Yes.
Moving on to the next photo. What are we looking at in here? I'm zoom in here to the hood area.
That is another piece of evidence tape used to seal the vehicle in the same way that when we sealed the premises prior to a search warrant, the vehicle and all of its entries are sealed prior to the search warrant being executed.
So for example, now looking at the screen down here at the bottom of the passenger side doors, that red item, is that the same evidence tape we've been looking at?
Yes, it is.
Find it.
Now, what I'm gonna show y'all is gonna show up in court. Okay.
The next photo.
Pay attention to this side of the car. A drive-by is usually target the people that they want to be targeted. Okay. Now these two boys in the front and the back seat was the only two targeted. They was the only two, y'all. You can't be on the outside of the car and allegedly shoot up in the car from where they trying to say they was shot. You got to be inside the car. And a drive-by don't do that, y'all. They wouldn't have went behind the seat. Y'all got to understand they wouldn't went behind the seat to shoot them. Okay. Real deal, I need y'all here.
What are we looking at in this image?
This is showing the front passenger side portion of the vehicle.
Moving on to the next photo.
This is showing the exterior of the front passenger side and rear passenger side doors.
Have you begun executing and searching the search warrant at this point?
No, I have not.
So what is the purpose of all these exterior outside photos?
All these are to document the vehicle in which I found it when I responded to the search warrant, and all photos are taken prior to execution of the search warrant.
So again, going to the rear door seal, was that one still intact?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And the rear trunk seal, was that one still intact?
Yes, it was.
The initials MK that are on that, do you know who those belong to?
Yes, that is Michael Kelly,
And
which was my supervisor at the time.
You read my mind as to my next question. On the back of this vehicle photo, what is the tag number of the Florida tag that was assigned?
India Echo Kilo Delta 22.
For those of us not in law enforcement, can you please translate?
IEK D22.
The India Echo Kilo Delta that you just used, what is that commonly referred to? The alphabet.
Fanatical.
Going on, what are we looking at on this image?
This is showing the driver's side exterior of the vehicle.
And going to the seals on this particular item.
Sorry, repeat that.
The seals right here on this particular area or item of the door, was it intact?
Yes, it was.
Moving on to the front door seal at the bottom between the front driver's door and the rear driver's door. Was this seal also intact?
Yes, it was.
As to the state of the windows of the car, had they been manipulated in any way while you were taking these pictures?
No, they were.
Moving on to the final picture of the evidence tape here on the driver's side door by the A column near the hood. Was this evidence CL still intact?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I was muted. I'm sorry. I was muted. Yeah, let me show y'all something. I'm sorry. Okay, right here, where I was trying to demonstrate to y'all, this is going to be very important. If you're looking at this car right here, when you're looking at the car, you're looking at the passenger. Hold up, real deal. Watching the passenger side of the car for a drive. Juvie, sad shades. And when you go around to this side of the car, hold on for a minute. And when you come around to the left side of the car, where Cortland and here we go. And you come over here, come on, y'all, come on, make it make sense. If you come on this side, the main two not even hit. This car ain't even touched on this side right here. Y'all got to look at that. They not even touched. Boiling nor Melly. And the only reason why they would be targeted is due to the fact of Melly want that money.
Right here on this particular area or item of the door. Was it intact?
Yes, it was.
Moving on to the front door seal at the bottom between the front driver's door and the rear driver's door. Was this seal also intact?
Yes, it was.
As to the state of the windows of the car, had they been manipulated in any way while you were taking these pictures?
No, they were not.
Moving on to the final picture of the evidence tape here on the driver's side door by the A column near the hood. Was this evidence CL still intact?
Yes, it was.
What was the VIN or vehicle identification number of this vehicle?
3C4N JDD B2 JT 198929.
The first photo that we're looking at here was now inside the vehicle. Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you're documenting in this photo.
From here, I took photos of the exterior of the vehicle. Then the doors of the vehicle were opened up. And as is, without anything being moved or disturbed, photographs of the interior of the vehicle were collected.
So you say without being anything moved or disturbed. What do you do to make sure that you're not contaminating any of the evidence?
I wear gloves prior to each time touching the vehicle. And that goes with touching my equipment, going back to the vehicle, vice versa.
The front passenger side view that we're looking at right here. Later on are the items collected.
Yes, they are.
And we'll get to that in a little bit. With what area of the car are we looking at here in this next photo? My apologies.
That is the area between the front passenger seat and the door jamb for the front passenger door.
Okay. Next photo, what are we looking at here?
That is the front passenger side floorboard.
Look at his gun. Look at his phone, y'all. He had his phone in his hand. Look. He had his phone in his hand. He was on the phone, y'all. God, wait.
Moving on here, the seats, did you manipulate them in any way before taking this photograph?
No, I did not.
Moving on into the next photograph, what are we looking at there?
Those are gold caps for teeth.
And so it's clear that that's a close-up photo from this rear passenger door. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, that's correct.
When we're looking out this rear passenger door, what are you documenting in this particular area?
I'm documenting.
If I don't make it back.
Okay, I'm gonna explain y'all something. I'm gonna explain something to y'all. Okay, hold on. See, y'all, hold on. See what they got in this car, yo. Melly, Juvie wasn't sitting on this side at first. Juvie was sitting over there. I don't know what Melly knew he had something planned, y'all, when he got on this side of the car. And Sat Chaser right here. So he already planned what he had allegedly planned.
As well as the seat and the floorboard of the rear passenger.
Moving on to the next image, what are we looking at in this photo?
That is a spent projectile.
So I'm going to go back a photo. Is that the same projectile that is down here?
Yes, it is.
Wow. See, y'all see that?
Going forward again, what are
Y'all
we looking
see that? That projectile is on the inside of the car, y'all. That's what she just showed y'all. She just showed y'all the projectile on the inside of the car. Hold on, let me put it on there. Nothing's supposed to be on the inside. I can't put it on there. Hold on. Okay, I can't show it to you.
Next photograph, what are we looking at there?
Those are gold caps for teeth.
And so it's clear that that's a close-up photo from this rear passenger door. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, that's correct.
When we're looking out this rear passenger door, what are you documenting in this particular area?
I'm documenting the interior of the rear passenger door and the door jamb for the rear passenger door, as well as the seat and the floorboard of the rear passenger.
Moving on to the next image, what are we looking at in this photo?
That is a spent projectile.
So I'm going to go back a photo. Is that the same projectile that is down here?
Yes, it is.
See, that's inside. Wow.
Going forward again, what are we looking at in this image?
That is the rear passenger side floorboard and the items that were found there.
Continuing to the next photo, what are you documenting in this image?
In this image, you can see the partial back of the front passenger side seat, the, again, floorboard of the rear passenger side floorboard, the rear passenger side seat, and a projectile hole that you can see where the defect on the seat.
And so I'm going to zoom in on an area. Can you explain what you're talking about, the projectile hole?
Yes.
And you can use this screen to touch if you're to draw attention to certain areas.
I observed the defect in the seat. That is later on, not into detail.
Okay. Moving on to the next image here. What are we looking at?
This is the rear passenger side seat, as well as the rear center console, and cup holders, and partial of the rear driver's side seat.
And y'all
This
gonna
area,
tell me, that this boy gonna drive them to the, look at it. He gonna drive them to the hospital. Wow.
area in the center with the two spray cans. Is that how you found it in the down position?
Yes, it was.
In this image here, can you describe a little bit about what's the red and white plastic item on the bottom of the floorboard? What is that?
That is a plastic bag.
Okay. What are you documenting in this image?
This image shows the trunk which had been opened, and in the photograph you can see the car manual and a jacket.
Did you disturb any of the glass? Did any of the glass move when you were opening that trunk?
Not that I recall.
What are you, in this next image, I'm gonna go back one. Did you open the rear trunk to get better photographs inside?
Correct.
Is this the interior of the rear trunk lid?
Yes, it is.
Can you kind of describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury as to how the trunk lid is and how you're taking the picture so they can orient themselves in space?
In this photo, the orientation is standing at the back of the vehicle. The hatch trunk is opened up, and I'm looking upward at the interior of the trunk.
And so why did you take a picture of this white fuzzy stuff?
I observed a projectile defect.
Moving on to the next photo. What did you document here?
Is a yellow jacket that was found inside the trunk that I observed red stains on.
Why would you document red stains?
Because of it presumptively would be blood.
Did you do any presumptive testing at this point?
Not at this point.
Wow.
Moving on to this next image. What are we looking at here?
This is the rear driver's side seat. From the vantage point of the driver's side door. Shows the driver's side seat, the driver's side floorboard, as well as some of the cup holders and rear passenger side seat.
Next image, what are we looking at here?
This is also another photo of the rear driver's side and cup holder.
Next image, what are you focusing on in this particular image?
This photo shows the rear driver's side floorboard, which has a Gatorade bottle, a cap, and a white plastic bag.
Moving on to the next image, what are you showing here?
In this image, this shows the interior of the front driver's side door and somewhat of the interior of the front driver's side seat and floorboard.
Moving on to the next image here, what are you looking at?
This image shows the steering wheel, partial of the front driver's side seat, the center console, and the side of the front passenger side seat.
On the next image now, we have a little bit different. Why do you put these yellow numbers?
These numbers, at the time I call photo markers, not my agency, I refer to them as placards, so I might refer to them also as placards. But these placards show and denote items of interest that will later be collected. And it's easier to recall back to a certain item and to show where that item is.
As you're documenting and collecting the evidence, do you use these photo markers in your reports and notes?
Yes, I do.
So to go back to the photo of 1, 2, 3, 5, did you collect the items at photo marker number 1?
Yes, I did.
Do you maintain the liquids that are inside of them when you worked at the Miramar Police Department?
I do not recall.
As to photo marker number 3, did you collect the items of evidence that were there next to photo marker number 3?
Yes, I did.
Moving on to photo marker number 6, did you collect the gold teeth that were in that pocket there?
Yes, I did.
Knock the teeth out of them.
Item number,
That's sad, y'all. They knock their gold teeth out the mouth. Sheesh. Hey,
let's see, item number 7, did you collect that item?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
That was the spec projectile.
For item that's at photo marker number 8, what was that and did you collect that?
I believe that is denoting the pair of shoes. Yes, I did.
Okay. And to go to a better picture for photo marker number 9, did you collect the item at photo marker number 9?
and
Yes,
it
I
phone.
did.
And what was that?
That is a cell phone.
God. Not the phone.
As to photo marker number 10, did you collect the 2 Sprite cans that were there?
Yes, I did.
Going on to the rear of the vehicle, photo markers 12, 13, and 14.
But y'all, he swiped. Now he said he swiped the let go back right. Yeah. He said he swiped the 2 Sprite can. So he had to get some DNA off of you. He had to get DNA off there.
Going on to the rear of the vehicle, photo markers 12, 13, and 14. Did you collect the various items listed in this photo?
Yes, I did.
Did you have help and assistance in processing this vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Who helped you?
Crime scene technician Todd Carroll.
Did you guys have a plan of attack as to how to process the vehicle?
We split up the vehicle into certain sections, and each processes areas of the vehicle and collected the items that were in relation to those areas.
So it's clear to the ladies and of the jury, what section were you assigned?
I was assigned to the driver's side of the vehicle.
In your report, how did you write down which side you were responsible for?
In the report, it shows that swabs were taken from the passenger side of the vehicle, which was which was incorrect in the report and was later shown as a correction in the primary receipts, as well as the original swab boxes that were collected on the scene.
So let's stop for a second there and explain when you're collecting swabs,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
I am using sterile distilled water and placing that onto a cotton swab and passing that over, rubbing that over an area that in which I either believe there may be the presence of DNA, and that area is processed with the swab, then placed inside a sterile swab box, and on that swab box, I notate where that item was, or what item was swabbed with those swabs.
So let's go very minute, detail by detail. First thing you do is what? When you're getting the swab in the area, swab an area. You change your gloves.
Correct.
I want very precise.
Yes. I get my new pair of gloves out of the box and take the new sterile swab, open the swab packaging that is sealed and sterile, and open up a new sealed container of sterile water, and that water is then placed and dropped on the top of the swab, and then the swab is then rubbed
Hi guys, this is the
No,
Amla Oil High Shine
that's
Top Coat
important.
from
Because I wonder what he was doing too with the swab.
The area in which I intend to process.
Do you ever dip the swab back into the sterile water and sort of double dipping, for lack of a better term?
Never.
After you swab the area, what's the next step you take?
The swab box is opened, the swabs are put inside the swab box, when that swab box is closed, and then I notate on the swab box what items processed with the swabs.
Do you complete the property receipt at that same time?
I do not.
When do you complete your property receipt?
The property receipt is completed later on in the office, but the items then will be submitted to the Evidence Bureau.
When do you do your report?
The report is done following, usually when all work is done.
So in terms of the most accurate description of what is that swab is of, what would that be?
The note on the swab box.
So going back to the photos, in terms of the process and the timing, when you're doing the swabs, is it before these photos, after these photos, just so the jury understands the way you process the car?
The way I process it is I remove all items that are deemed as evidence, and I remove those from the vehicle. And then prior to any other processing, whether that be latent prints, the car is processed for possible DNA, and then there are 2 latent prints.
And to be clear, did you do any of the latent prints in this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Moving on to the pictures with item markers or photo markers 10, 11, 16 here. Were those items 16, 11 collected?
Yes, they were.
Forgive me. In terms of the numbers and the item numbers, was there a time or a number that you collected 1 through 15, 1 through 20, the items, and Miss Carol collected the others?
Yes, there were.
And do you recall which specific photo markers and items you were responsible for collecting?
I would have to refer to my report.
Would you looking at your report and refresh your recollection as to that?
Yes, indeed.
If I may approach that?
Yes.
Again, can you refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay, that being said, I'll ask again, which items or photo markers were you responsible for collecting numerically?
Items 12 through 20 were the items that I collected.
In terms of these photographs, they were all taken by you. Is that a correct statement?
Correct.
Moving on to item number 18 and 17. Did you collect those two?
Yes, I did.
19 and 20 as shown here. Did you collect those?
Yes, I did.
What are we looking at in this photo here?
This photo shows the trunk portion of the vehicle with the hatch covering the spare tire removed.
The processing here again at the, what location of the car on this photo, our next one?
This is the front driver's side photo.
Okay, you have, and what photo marker is here?
19.
So what are we looking at here underneath the brake pedal?
That I believe is a spent projectile.
Is that then marked with photo marker number 24 that we're looking at in this photo?
Yes, it is.
And item number 23, the glasses case. You were documenting that? sorry.
Correct.
On to photo marker number 25. Did you take these images here?
Yes, I did.
Photo marker 26. Did you take those?
Yes, I did.
Are these the items that were in the glove box?
Yes, they are.
In terms of this enterprise receipt that we're looking at here, does that vehicle description listed on this enterprise receipt and VIN number match the Jeep Compass that you've been looking at?
No, they do not.
It's a rental car.
And the name of the individual who rented this vehicle, was that on this enterprise receipt?
Wow. Friend's car.
On the, and not the Jeep Compass, my apologies. I'll rephrase. The
Wow.
enterprise receipt, did it have a name of a renter on it?
Yes, it did.
And what was that?
Jamerson Francois.
Wait a minute, hold on. No stop. Hold up, y'all.
What have you done?
Hold on, y'all. You mean to tell me that? You mean to tell me that James? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Jameson, Friend Squad, the one who rent the car out for them? Jeez. It's crazy. Hold on, y'all.
To document the scene in this photo inside this Jeep.
In this photo, it shows trajectory rods that were placed inside of the projectile defects to show an approximate path of the projectile.
Excuse me, can we approach? Sure.
Why you got to stand all over that lady like that? That's so inappropriate.
Investigator Carter, as you were saying, explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what are these green, red items that are now in the back seat of the Jeep?
These are called trajectory rods. Like I said, they are used to show the approximate path of the projectile when it struck the surface.
How many trajectory rods are in this photo that we're looking at here?
There are 7.
Going forward to the next photograph, what are we looking at here?
This is the opposite side of the rear passenger side seat, showing the trajectory rods.
Okay.
Same objection? Yes, sir, overruled.
Again, shown.
Okay. What we looking at now? The projectiles. Okay, y'all, what we looking at now are the projectiles. Okay. There was a drive-by. You're not gonna see this in a drive-by. This coming from somebody even in the back. Directly in the back of the car. In that over here on this passenger side. And they the only one can answer this question.
On what?
Showing the trajectory rods coming through the passenger side.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how you place them?
The trajectory rods are placed through one defect, pass through the object, and then through the other defect on the opposite side.
Going forward to this next photo, all the other items of evidence have been removed. So I want to go for time frame. How long after the initial processing are we talking where you're doing these trajectory rods?
I do not have time for that.
When we're looking at this photo here, what are we looking at?
This is the rear driver's side interior door and floorboard seat.
Looking here at this photo, what are you documenting and where is it in relation to that last photo?
I am documenting a projectile defect that was in the door jamb of the rear driver's side door.
And so I'm going to go back to the last photo. If you could circle a couple of times on the screen the area that you are photographing in the next photograph. And going to the opposite angle view of that. Can you again circle the defect so it's clear?
Okay.
And to get this photo, how did you have to position the rear driver's side door?
The door had to be fully opened and the defect had to be photographed from looking from the inside of the vehicle out.
So going on to the next photograph here, you mentioned prior that there was a projectile on the seat that you recovered.
Correct.
Is this the process you had to undertake?
Yes, it was.
What did you do? Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
I used a scalpel to remove the top layer of the leather, and it showed a projectile that was situated inside the fungus.
Is this another view of that process?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did you assign a photo marker to that item and collect it?
Yes, I did.
And what are we looking at this image?
This is an image of the projectile as it was removed from the foam.
He left the projectile inside. Wow, he left it on the inside of the car. They crazy.
So those 65 photos that you took at the processing of the Jeep. Is that, and we've gone through all of those. I'm going to move on now to the photos that you took of the items of evidence that you collected.
I don't know why it's looking like that.
Investigator Carter, I'm now showing you it's been marked as states EE for identification purposes. Do you recognize those photos? What are we looking at here?
This is the yellow jacket that was collected from the trunk of the vehicle.
What, in terms of the item number 12 that's on here as well, is that the same yellow jacket?
Yes, it was.
Is the number 12 consistent every time you're using or photographing something from photo marker number 12?
Correct.
The other item that we see on here, kind of the L-shaped gray and white, what is that?
That is a scale.
What's the purpose of having that in your photographs?
The scale shows the size of the item that you're looking to document, and the scale also has parameters on it that allow it to be fixed if not taken at the correct angle.
Understood. Moving on to the next photo, is this the opposite side of item number 12?
Yes.
What do you do in between items to ensure that there's no cross-contamination?
In between items, the paper on the floor where the item is placed is changed every single time, and my gloves are changed in between touching my camera and going back to the evidence.
When you say the paper that's down there, what is that? What specific type of paper do you use?
It's called a brown craft paper.
Is it ever reused during the course of the case?
No, it is not.
Moving on to the next photo, what are we looking at here?
That is a sock, a Jeep Compass user guide, and a box.
And what photo marker were these documented at the previous set of photos?
Photo marker 13.
Going on to this next photo, still at photo marker 13. What are you showing here?
I am showing the opposite side of both the sock and the Jeep Compass user manual and the interior of the box.
Moving on to item number 15. That is what?
That is a disposable lighter
Did the Miramar Police Department policies and procedures allow you to maintain that item in evidence?
No.
Why not?
because of the combustible nature of the liquid inside.
So the documentation of this evidence is just the photographs.
That is correct.
Moving on to item 16. What photo marker were these items documented under?
Photo marker 16.
And what are we looking at here?
This is a belt, a disposable lighter, a pair of scissors, and a blue container.
Inside the blue container, based on your training and experience, what did that substance appear to be?
I observed a green leafy substance inside of the container.
Did it have any odor associated with it?
I do not recall.
Moving on to the next item number, what are we looking at here?
This is a Gatorade bottle with red stains on it.
And what photo marker was it documented at?
Photo marker 17.
Moving on to the next photo marker. What are we looking at here?
This is a water bottle, I believe a black plastic cap, a Gatorade bottle, also with red stains on it, and a white plastic bag with red stains, and containing a green plastic cap and a spent bullet casing.
Moving on to the next photo. Where was this casing located when you took the item out of the car?
The casing was located in a white plastic bag that was found on the rear driver's side of the floorboard.
What?
Was it visible until you removed the bag?
No, it was not.
Moving on to this next photo with the scale and the large number 18. What are we looking at here?
This is a closer up photo of the spent cartridge casing that was collected in a white plastic bag.
And if you'd be so kind as to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is on the next photo that we're looking at and zoomed in on.
This is the head stamp of the spent cartridge casing that reads Blazer 40 S&W.
And I'm not going to assume anyone is familiar with firearms or anything of that. So could you please give the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is a bullet cartridge or an unfired bullet?
A unfired bullet comprises of a projectile that is the front end of the cartridge casing, and the cartridge casing comprises of gunpowder, a primer, and when the primer is struck, the gunpowder there's an explosion that happens within the cartridge casing, expelling the projectile.
Okay. So I want to let y'all see this. This is one of something very important. Now I want to get into my last video. That's important to me. In this case, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Okay, let me take that out. Okay. All right. This last video that's very important in his case is these text messages, y'all, with the mom. Well, yeah, him. Yeah, this. Now, wait. Now, Morale, Detective Morale is very important in this case. They want to wipe him out. They want to wipe him out of this.
The line of email says, I did that.
I did that. This is the thread ID. This is the text. This is the author. This is the
This is
recipient.
important.
Then you come down here, same thing. The ID is for the actual message, which is just specific that one message. Then the thread ID is the actual continuation of continued message. Then come down here to it says text. Shh. The SHHHH.
No further questions now.
Keep that up, will you please?
Of course.
Lead Detective Murray. You are the lead detective.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Well, you got promoted me, so you better apologize to the judge.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I'd like to consider it. I can't see my eyes. Could you point to where I did that? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how do you spell that?
THAT.
Okay. let me show you some copies of 9807 without going through all the messages. They're all from exhibits that you would introduce.
I wouldn't even let them use none of my stuff.
May I mark this as a composite exhibit? Please. Do you have any objection?
Council, are you offering it?
I'm going to offer it in evidence, yes. As a composite.
Now?
Huh?
Are you doing it now? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yes.
Can you state any objection?
Starting evidence, if you just would cross-reference from which exhibit you got these from.
I wish I could. There's 4,000 of them that we took samples.
Excuse me 1 second. So what's the next exhibit number?
Yeah.
Be pre-marked as offense exhibit D
It's going to be offered in evidence. So
and offered in evidence as defense 4.
in evidence is defense 4.
I'm sorry.
Shopify Point of
Get
Sale
on
makes
my
it easy to
nerves.
start and grow your retail business. All backed by the world's most powerful commerce platform.
Defense 2.
Defense 2, I'm sorry.
Pre-marked as defense.
And how many pages?
I didn't think.
Conversation clerk to do it.
I apologize.
No problem.
I get past, when they mention 70,000, I get confused. And while he's marking them, may I ask the witness a question?
Yes, sir. I think you've got how many pages?
Composite 19.
19 pages. We're making it a little simpler. This is coming from 9807, the phone.
I don't know which,
I'm gonna tell you. Thank you. May I approach?
Yes, sir.
Spelled on this T-H-A-T, that, correct?
correct.
This is coming from the 9807 that the state has introduced thousands of pages indicating
Counsel testifying.
Overruled.
that it belongs, or it's a phone that Melly uses, correct?
Correct.
Page 1 of defense exhibit coming from 9807. Would you tell the jury how he spells that?
Dat, D-A-T.
D-A-T.
Yeah, this how they
Page 2.
young people.
Will you tell the jury how he spells that?
D-A-T.
D-A-T.
Yeah,
Not T-H-A-T.
it don't matter.
D-A-T. Correct?
Right.
Page 3, coming out of 9807. How does he spell that?
D-A-T.
So when Melly spells the word that, you want me to go through all 19 pages, or will you take my word that every time, coming out of 9807, that's attributed to this young man that's writing the message, he does not spell it T-H-A-T, but D-A-T. Would you like to look through them?
No, sir, you're asking me to explain that the one moment he decided to use proper
What?
grammar.
One moment, these phone messages sitting there.
One at a time. All right. What's the objection? Overruled.
These phone messages that the state introduced, sitting on this pages that we painfully went through, he spells it D-A-T, not T-H-A-T, except for this one occasion. Right?
Correct.
What a strange thing. I'm sorry, Judge, I apologize.
It doesn't matter.
Somewhat unusual, wouldn't you think? Okay. Before we get into your investigation totally, you became aware that the state employed or brought in the FBI to analyze these phones, correct?
Yes, sir.
They brought in the FBI,
Actually, correction, sir. They analyzed the cell site tower, not the actual phones.
cell site towers, so that they could tell the jury where these phones were located, all right?
Correct, sir.
Jameson, let's see for 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of our jury. The defendant, Mr. Evans, his counsel, the assistant attorney, the witness, Detective Mark Murray, were named on the witness stand. Counsel will approach. I think you're on your commence your cross-examination. If you're ready, you may proceed.
Thank you. When we took the break, we were talking about the state bringing in the FBI to plot out where the phones were. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And the reason they brought the FBI in is because the FBI has a special unit to map out and plot where phones are. And they do that not only in this country, but all over the world.
Correct.
And the FBI agent they brought in was, in fact, Special Agent Collins. And you met with him.
Yes, sir.
And he was from the CAST unit,
Yes, sir.
which stands for Cellular Analysis Survey Team.
Yes, sir.
And that is a unit that is brought in not only throughout the United States, but throughout the world to plot out and find the location of phones. Correct?
Correct.
And to render opinions as to where the phones are located at a particular time.
Correct.
Now, were you aware that in order for him to do that, one of the things he needed was the name of the cell provider? Correct.
Yes.
And the list of towers in a particular area that he's trying to locate the phone.
I don't know if he needed a list of towers. That's standard.
Would it surprise you to learn that he needs not only the provider name, but the list of towers in a particular area so that he can attempt to map out and tell a jury like this where the phones are located at a particular time?
I have to disagree because the platform they use, CASPIS, is linked what's called NDCAC. It's the national database of all the cell towers that's maintained in the United States. So the platform they use is constantly updated. Now, when we use the platform we use, we have to update it periodically because more towers are added. So as for the fact that he needed it, I'm not sure about that, sir.
Okay. Are you aware that even though they are the Rolls Royce of locating phones throughout the world, that they cannot pinpoint at a particular time exactly where a phone is at any particular time?
Correct.
They can only give a general area.
Correct, sir.
That general area is approximately a couple miles wide, correct?
Life is expensive. Tools don't
Yeah,
have to be. Whatever you do,
I'm
do
trying
it
to
for
see what
less
he
at Harbor
did.
Freight.
Excuse me.
As compared to miles, it's accurate, but it's not precise.
Now, you indicated to these folks that you looked at something on the cell records called environment,
Yes, sir.
and you use that as a guide to locate or plot where a particular phone is at a particular time, correct?
No, sir, that's inaccurate. The environment just tells us where the phone is interpreting where it's at. Example, it tells us if it's mobile, if it's outdoor, it tells us it's indoor. The environment has nothing to do with the location data. We use that in this case because every time we had an environment response from the T-Mobile records, I could corroborate it with video. An example, when he walked out of the recording studio at 3:18 a.m., the phone was registering outdoor.
How about when it was on I-75 or 595?
It was saying mobile. And if you would let me finish, every time the phone was registering outdoor, mobile, we had video to corroborate that. So he's walking, he's outdoors, it says mobile. It says outdoor. The second he gets in that vehicle and drives away, it switches over to mobile. On 595, we have video, mobile. On Pines Boulevard near the Monastery School, it says mobile. Passing McDonald's, mobile. After the shooting, after the murder, is coming back east on Pines Boulevard, it's saying mobile. So we had video to corroborate that one little instant, that one little section of the box.
Are you aware that the FBI never, ever uses the label environment because they cannot attest to the reliability of that?
Well, I can't attest to how the FBI operates. I can't attest to their
Could
culture.
you just answer my question, yes or no, and then explain?
I sustain the judgment.
The question, sir?
Are you aware, yes or no, whether or not you're aware that the FBI does not look at the environment because they cannot attest to the reliability?
I'm not aware of that.
Fair enough. You also use latitude and longitude coordinates.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that the FBI does not rely upon the latitude and longitude when they determine where a phone is?
The latitude and longitude that comes into play on the true call data report of the cell phone. It's an estimate. The cell phone provider is providing us an estimate where they believe the phone might be. Like we said before, it's not precise, but it's accurate.
My question to you wasn't that. My question to you is, are you aware?
Excuse me. What's the objection?
You may approach briefly.
Sure.
Are you aware, sir, that the FBI does not use the latitude and longitude coordinates when doing their analysis?
No.
Are you aware, sir, that the FBI
Get it out. Get it out.
never uses a cellular analysis by itself to prove a case?
Any other reason?
I didn't.
all you are saying basically is that a phone may be in a general area, correct?
Correct, sir.
Cannot be 100% correct, right?
Correct.
And in fact, depending upon what tower it bounces off on, it could be totally incorrect.
There has been false readings with towers. Sometimes, anomalies within the records, it happens.
And we've heard a lot of talk about chat messages, and you read with both prosecutors various messages for what I perceive to be days, but hours, days.
I would agree with you, it was long.
Along. And they would say, I'm going to pretend to be Mr. Smith, for instance, and you read the message coming from Judge Murphy, but I would get in trouble, not Judge Murphy. How about that gentleman in the back from BSL?
Okay.
And the messages were read and identified as those two people, the state and that BSO officer sitting in that corner.
Yes, sir.
Basically, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're aware, in order to really tell a jury who the person is, you need that person, like this.
Suggestion,
Foundation.
just think, rephrase.
You've had training in analyzing phones,
Yes, sir.
somewhat, correct?
Yes, sir.
You have been an officer or a detective for some 20+ years.
Yes, sir.
In order to identify someone's voice, you would need, legally in the courtroom, as you know, the person who made the phone call, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or the person who received.
As a Publix corporate associate, your expertise and decisions will drive us forward. Your dedication to your craft will set us.
The phone call. Did you ever speak to, what was his name, Gambino?
Yes, I did. Patrick Deloach is his real name. Deloach.
Detective only, but get him, detective.
Now, in addition to that, you told this jury that you attempted to, well, you did get some cameras off of 595 and I-75, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell the jury if you could see who was in each vehicle?
No, sir, you cannot.
Could you tell this jury how many people were in each vehicle?
No, sir, you cannot.
And you did get a surveillance from Montessori School, correct?
Yes, sir. And McDonald's.
And McDonald's. Well, on Miramar Parkway, for instance, the only surveillance you got was from the Montessori School, correct?
No, Montessori School was on Pines Boulevard.
Okay. Did you get any surveillance from any of the cameras on Miramar Parkway?
More specifics, or which one are you referring to?
Okay. How about the CVS that's on Miramar Parkway?
It doesn't cover up that far.
Did you pull it?
We went there.
Did you look at it?
Yes, sir.
How about Applebee's on Miramar Parkway?
Where's our Applebee's on Miramar Parkway?
On I'm sorry, we're on Dykes Road. On Miramar Parkway West, on Dykes Road, on the intersection.
Yeah, there's a pharmacy there, but there's no Applebee's there.
Did you go to that pharmacy?
Yes, sir.
Did you pull the surveillance?
No, sir.
How about the Pollo Tropical?
Their videos didn't cover that area.
Did you pull them?
No, sir.
Did you look at them?
No, sir.
How about the gas station that's on Miramar Parkway?
The one just east of the McDonald's?
Yes.
Yes, it did not cover the road.
How about the bank that was on the corner of 172nd and Miramar Parkway?
Did not cover the road.
Did you look at it?
Yes, sir.
Did you bring it in?
No, sir.
How about the four-way intersection where there's 4 cameras on 172nd Avenue?
Cameras covering the road.
Yeah, you see the cars driving through.
Those, there's no traffic cameras at 172 and Hines. That seems to be a great misconception when people see those white boxes on top of the cameras. Those are actually control the traffic signals. They're sensors. The old sensors used to be in the road. They would burn out. The lights would not cycle properly. So, but there's no cameras. It's a great misconception.
Okay, then you said the vehicle turned right on and went south on 184th. Is that correct?
Which vehicle?
The Jeep?
Jeep never went south on 184.
Did it make a right turn on 184, the Jeep?
Yes, sir.
That would be north.
Yes, sir.
My mistake. Did you look at the camera at Publix that's on that road?
Doesn't cover the road, sir.
Did you pull it and look at it?
We went there. It does not cover the road.
My question is, did you look at it?
Yes.
How about Sunset Lakes Elementary? That's there. Did you pull that camera, sir?
No, sir.
How about West Broward Elementary? Did you pull that camera?
Where's West Broward Elementary located at?
On south on 184.
184 and what?
You don't know.
Pembroke Road.
Pembroke Road in 184?
Yes.
I don't know of any West Broward school there at Pembroke Road in 184.
Okay. How about the Walmart?
No, sir.
You didn't look at it.
No, sir.
How about the Audi Market? Did
No,
you
sir.
look at that one?
No, sir.
How about the Walgreens?
No, sir.
There. You looked at all of them, now what? Now what?
We know that you pulled the Montessori school.
Yes, sir.
How about the Exxon? That's right down the street from there.
No, sir.
How about Somerset Academy?
No, sir.
How about the Tractor Supply Company on that street? Did you bother to look at that camera?
We're specifically on High Boulevard to Tractor Supply.
190 what? 192nd.
Hell no.
You missed quite a few cameras.
No, sir.
No. Now, you were told by Cortland Henry that the day, October 25th, several people went to the flea market to buy some weed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Certainly you went there to pull the tapes of the flea market so that you could show this jury, didn't you?
No, sir.
But you did a helicopter ride to show this jury this route on what day?
May 2023.
May of 2023,
Yes, sir.
after this trial started, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Suggestion.
Okay.
She getting him back, y'all. See, he answer. He trying to see the Melly attorney trying to find out. Did he go to them places to look at the camera to see? Did he know he got a better shot at? That's why he named those places.
You did this helicopter ride in May of 2023,
Yes, sir.
after this trial started, correct?
Correct.
And you did this drive-by in a car with a partner filming it. On what day?
March 2022.
That was 2 years after this incident?
4 years, actually, sir.
4 years. That's why I'm a lawyer and can't be an accountant. 4 years after this incident.
Yes, sir.
And that was all done at the request of the state of Florida, correct?
Correct.
The prosecutors in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
4 years after the incident.
Yes.
4 years after this young man.
It's not an incident, it's a murder case.
4 years after this young man surrendered, correct?
Sustained objection. Ask your next question.
Let's look at Exhibit 115, if I could find it.
Well, look for it.
The blue phone, I think, that was in the vehicle?
The black LG phone. The blue phone belonging to Chris Thomas, or the one belonging to Anthony Williams, or the one was in the back seat rest?
Okay.
He don't know that. He getting the information from the police officer. He don't know that.
I need to know. I need a lot of it. You find me 150. I think it's Exhibit 115.
Look, he don't know how to look
That's
in there.
the phone that was the third phone found in the car, correct?
Yes, sir.
That you said you don't know who the owner is, correct?
Correct, sir.
Also, that third phone, they don't know who that phone belongs to. Man, they play some
During
games.
one of the
They-
breaks, I asked you to open that phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there was a SIM card in there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that SIM card has a serial number on it, correct?
Yes, sir.
No.
Do you need help you find Johnson?
If you could, yes. Could you step down to help?
The guy, they got him. They got the detective to help them. Wow. They ain't as smart as they thought they were. Look. And then he gonna come back and get smart with the detective. I want to help them look for nothing. He went over there and found it.
Thank you. Thank you. May I approach?
Yes. 115, is that right?
That is 115, State's Exhibit 115. Could you open that, take that phone out?
You don't know what he doing. The detective do.
I'm just going to put gloves on just because there was blood on at one time.
I don't blame you. Was that phone while you're pulling it out, analyzed, to determine which what it was?
Yes, sir, we took it to HIDA, High Intensity Drug Trafficking Agency, and they had them attempt to analyze the phone. It's completely broken.
Could you open that phone like you did during, when I asked you to? Don't pull out your burglary key now.
It's not a burglary tool, that should be a burglary, sir.
Smart. Morale is smart.
Did you pull it out?
Yes, sir, it's right here.
Could you pull out this, did you pull out
Yes,
the
the
SIM
card's
card?
right here, sir.
Could you read the serial number off of that, sir?
89011 20200 00802 18727. Looks like there's an 80.01A.
Could you, with the court's permission, let the jury see that SIM card?
Publish it to the jury.
Yes, let him hold it.
Objection? All right, you step down. Executive.
I don't know how to work the computer, I'd rather him just show it to the jury.
You may step down. Thank you.
You don't know how to do that. He using her to help him.
That's how the phone communicates with the tower. It's the serial number we just read.
Please.
And then he gonna go smile on her face.
And we're gonna make it, because
Now you do it for me.
I just wanted you to get some exercise, quite candidly.
There's no book on this. This is slip, sir. What do you want to put that right here?
Wherever you can, wherever it's published on the screen.
Put it up there.
Just a SIM card.
Okay, we're gonna leave it there for a second. I'm sorry, may I approach? I apologize. That's the serial number, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it goes to a Sprint phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're aware that that SIM number can be tracked once you have the provider
Yes, sir.
to a particular phone.
Yes, sir.
Did you do that in this case?
No, sir.
Fair enough. You can take that SIM card back.
Can I step down now?
Yes, you may.
God, yeah, everything.
Now, I'm sorry, tell me when you're ready.
You
Put
got it.
it back in the 115, the bag.
It's gonna take me a few minutes. I'll wait till the next break. If you want to.
I don't want the clerk to get in trouble, so just
Okay.
put it back in there. Let me turn it to the table. The clerk's watching very carefully.
Thank you, sir.
Go on, O'Reilly. Detective.
Thank you. Now, what I'd like to do is somewhat go in chronological order of your investigation, if I may. you get a call on October 26, 2018 to report to the Memorial Hospital, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you get there at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, you speak to the first officer, which would have been Officer Amador.
Yes, sir.
And also on the scene is Detective Bertram and Bermudez.
Sergeant Bermudez, yes.
Sergeant, I apologize. And you are assigned the lead detective role.
Yes, sir.
And that is like a conductor in an orchestra. All right.
I wouldn't categorize that, but
Now, are pictures taken of the two individuals that were shot before they were removed from the vehicle, the Jeep?
yes, yes, sir.
You immediately go and speak to Cortland Henry, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we listened to the tape of Mr. Henry,
Yes, sir.
who told you that there were 3 people in his car, correct?
Yes, sir.
Cortland Henry, the driver, correct?
Yes.
Christopher well, let me get in the right order. In the front passenger seat was Anthony Williams,
Yes.
and sitting in the rear passenger seat was Christopher Thomas.
Yes.
Only those 3 people when the shooting occurred, correct?
Correct.
You learned that he lied to you about where the drive-by shooting was, correct?
Yes.
You went to, 3 different areas to look for evidence of the drive-by of Cortland, what Cortland Henry told you, correct?
Yes.
You learned at that time that at first he was labeled a victim, but that he now is lying to the police concerning the shooting of 2 individuals.
He was still listed as a victim that day, even though we knew he was lying to us, but he was still considered a victim at that point.
There is such a crime as lying to the police.
Yes, sir, it's a misdemeanor.
You could have arrested him if you so chose for lying to the police, correct?
You're saying I should have arrested a potential victim of a violent crime on a misdemeanor?
Could you just answer my question? Could you have arrested him, yes or no?
Yes.
But he didn't.
And you spoke to him for approximately an hour or 2, correct?
It was about an hour.
Okay. And he gave you the address where he lives, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that address was 18521 Southwest 44th Street, Silver Lakes?
Yes, sir. No, Sunset Lakes.
Sunset Lakes. But he gave you the home address.
Yes.
And he tells you also that Melly lives there, correct?
Yes.
He tells you Anthony Williams, one of the victims, lives there.
Yes.
He tells you Christopher Thomas, the other victim, lives there, correct?
Correct.
And he also tells you that Melly is a recording artist, correct?
Yes.
And we learned from the testimony that $16 million went into Jameson Francois' bank account.
Over a 30-month period, yes.
Okay. So, and he was the business manager of this 19-year-old young man.
Yes,
You learned later, correct?
yes.
A rather successful, would you say, recording artist.
I really don't understand the music business, sir, on how the money's made, how it comes in.
I'm not asking you that. Someone who earns $16 million in 30 months legally is pretty successful, wouldn't you say?
I don't, like I said before, that we could never determine the amount of money, what was, because Mr. Francois had other clients, so we could never isolate what specifically is made by one artist over another.
That's
We
right.
just knew the money was there.
That's right.
So, you knew that the two victims, the driver of the car that lied to you, and Melly lived, and you had the address at the same house.
Yes.
You also learned about that time, and you mentioned it briefly, that a text message came out from a crucial almighty.
Yes.
And that text message was, we were just aiming at YNW, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it had a picture of him with a target, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it would be fair to say on October 26th of 18, Crucial Almighty, which his real name was David Hedgepath, was suspect number one based upon that.
It was a person of interest, it was something to look at.
When did you, since you knew this on October 26th of 2018, when did you decide to talk to the David Hedgepath, Crucial Almighty, who said he shot at this young man inside a Jeep? What date?
I first did a search warrant into his social media account where the comments came from, which then being able to determine a better picture of Mr. Hedgepath was, so it was probably maybe 2 years later when we interviewed Mr. Hedgepath.
2 years later. That would be in 20?
Yes, sir.
A year after this young man surrenders to you, to the police?
I'm not sure the exact date, but
February of 19. Would you agree it was 2 years after that?
yes, sir.
And you interviewed him after the case was closed, correct? Because it was closed at the time of the arrest.
Yes, sir.
No, correct?
Yes, sir.
Case one closed. Play case still open.
Do you, subpoena any records from him?
His work records.
And when do you subpoena those work records?
2 years later, after we interviewed him.
Okay. And I think you introduced him this. Did you speak to any of his co-employees to verify whether or not he was really working when the time clock indicated he was?
Yes, sir.
No. You also learned from Cortland Henry that they were having a problem with a guy named Benton.
Yes.
I'm going to label him as suspect number 2. Who is Benton?
We never could identify him.
So last name unknown.
Correct.
You also learned that there was a problem at Walmart where they got jumped and I think a necklace or a bracelet was stolen.
A little pendant fell off one of them, yes.
Okay. Did you go to Walmart to investigate that?
No, sir.
I'm going to make him suspect number 3 so far.
No, they not suspects.
And I'm going to just label him Walmart with a question. Fair enough?
No.
Did you bother to go and attempt to pull the surveillance of Walmart because they keep their tapes for a while?
No, usually about 30 days.
Did you go to Walmart to attempt to see if it didn't exist?
No, sir.
Now, you then, during October 26th, get the surveillance tape of the people coming out of the recording studio, correct?
On which date, sir?
The 26th.
Yes, sir.
You respond to the hospital in the morning.
Yes, sir.
By mid-afternoon, you get the surveillance tape, correct?
Yes, sir.
You identify, do you not, by the end of October 26th, all 8 people that left the recording studio?
I think we had more like the 27th, 31 was pretty much it.
Okay. On October 27th, you identified Cortland, correct?
Yes, sir.
Anthony Williams,
Yes, sir.
Christopher Thomas,
Yes, sir.
Trevon Glass,
Yes, sir.
Melly,
Yes, sir.
I'm missing 3
Jacoby Mills and
Jacoby Mills,
Octavius Withers
Octavius Withers, and
Adrian Davis.
All 8 people
He naming everybody.
that left the recording studio.
Yeah, he naming everybody. Those are the name of the people was at the recording studio, y'all.
And 2 had passed away, correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh man.
And you knew where all 8 of them were living, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was at the 18720, whatever that address I read off before.
The Sunset Lakes 184 Southwest 44th Street.
You had that address, correct?
Yes, sir.
and you had observed the bloody scene of inside the Jeep, correct?
Correct.
And you knew that Cortland Henry had lied to you.
Correct.
So you certainly, at that point, obtained a search warrant to look at that house to see if you could find any blood, any gun, or anything to tie up what happened in that car, correct?
There is no way we could have got a search.
Experience mouth-watering bliss starting at only $3.99. Churches.
Search warrant for that house because there was no nexus to the crime to the house. And I have to establish a nexus between the two, or the judges will not sign the warrant.
Did you even try, sir, to get a search warrant and go in front of a judge and say, I got 8 people who left the studio. They all live in the same house. The driver of the vehicle we interviewed lied, and the inside of the Jeep is covered in blood. And we're looking for the gun or guns and the bloody clothes involved in this. Did you bother to do that, sir?
So like I said before, there was no connection between the house and the crime itself. Now,
The answer-
where we had blood, where we had evidence, where we had instruments of a crime, we did search warrants. Anytime we had a nexus between the two,
Thank you,
we did a search
Lieutenant.
warrant. We never had a nexus between the two. We even went to that house that day, knocked on the door, there was no one there.
You could have secured that house by officers standing in front of it.
Why?
And at least come to this jury and say, I went to a judge, explain to the judge, 8 people live in a house, 8 people left the studio, and a few hours later, 2 people ended up dead, and the driver of the vehicle lied to us about everything concerning the shooting. You could have done that, couldn't you?
But not that
That's not how
house.
it works, sir.
Not how it works.
That's
Fair
not
enough.
how it works. No. Did nothing happen at the house.
Did you get a search warrant of the house in November? At all?
You mean for which house, sir?
The house where Melly lived.
No, sir.
How about December?
They were already gone at that point.
You could have looked for blood, traces of blood, because we saw
But
That's
no, he ain't
sprayed
talking
this
about nothing.
agent on things, and miraculously blood surfaces. You know that.
Yes, sir.
Did you do that?
No, sir.
He didn't have to. You're not even making sense.
You mentioned to the state that you spoke to an Adrian Davis and a Dontavius Withers, correct?
Yes, sir.
They were the 2 of the individuals that originally left the studio
Yes, sir.
and got into the red Mitsubishi.
Correct.
You learned from that. I haven't even asked the question.
They watched them, sir.
Birds entering.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of the defendants, defendants, counsel, the assistant state attorneys. Ladies and gentlemen, jury, our witness Detective Mark Murray remains on the stand. Counsel, if you're ready to continue with your cross, you may.
Thank you. I think we were on October 27th, but I want to go back to October 26th for a moment.
Yes.
You leave the hospital. You go to various areas to look for a drive-by. And you learn that Courtland Henry lied. Okay?
Yes.
You do you not get a search warrant for the Jeep?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, the Jeep is searched on October 26th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the purpose of that was to photograph it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Process it for fingerprints and DNA,
Correct.
and to collect all the physical evidence within inside the Jeep that could lead to who did this, correct?
Correct.
And that was done over several hours.
Yes, sir.
In fact, it was done by at least 2 crime scene technicians.
Yes, sir.
Now, there was also the red Mitsubishi that was seen leaving the area, correct?
Yes, sir.
With several people, correct?
Yes, sir.
That you ended up interviewing over the course of this investigation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you, in fact, search the red Mitsubishi at any time?
No, sir.
Did you, in fact, process the red Mitsubishi to get fingerprints to determine who was inside that vehicle?
No, sir.
That maggot job.
Had you done that, you could have obtained DNA.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
If you did that, that could verify, would it not, whether or not Melly got inside that vehicle. Right?
Not necessarily.
But it could have.
Possibly, yes.
October 27th, I think we were done at. You interviewed, as you've indicated, Dontavius Withers again, correct?
Yes, sir.
At the end of October 27th, Melly was not in the Jeep during the shooting, according to your investigation, correct?
Repeat that question.
At the end of October 27th, your information indicated that this young man was not in the Jeep at that time when the shootings occurred, correct?
That was based upon the false statement of Dontavius Withers.
You say false statement. You have Courtland Henry who told you this, that he wasn't there, correct?
Objection, you're saying.
Sustained.
You learn that the day of them going to the studio, that Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams went to the flea market?
I don't know which two went. I could have sworn that Octavius went to the flea market. Maybe it was Chris Thomas and Anthony Williams.
And you've already indicated you don't go there to verify or prove or disprove.
Correct.
On October 31st is when you obtained a warrant on David Hedgepodge Twitter account. I think he testified. Correct?
Yes, sir. You said October
31st?
Yes, sir.
Halloween day. Correct?
Yes, sir.
But you don't interview him until 2 years later, 2 or 3 years later.
Correct.
On November 1st, you again searched the Jeep, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's the second time you searched this vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
26th, and now November 1st, correct?
Correct.
And again, that is to collect any evidence, process it. If you miss any evidence.
No, so if my recollection stands correct, the second search warrant was for a trajectory analysis being conducted by Mr. Kelly.
On November 2nd, you interviewed, do you not, Christopher Thomas Sr.
On which date?
November 2nd.
November 2nd, Chris Thomas Sr.
Yes.
Oh, at the funeral. Yes, sir.
And without telling us what it is, what he told you, you discovered there was a problem.
Hearsay.
Mistake.
Can you find out that Christopher Thomas Sr. had issues with Anthony Williams?
Mistake.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Do you ever investigate Anthony Williams Sr.?
Can you repeat that question, sir?
Do you ever investigate Anthony Williams Sr.? Christopher Thomas, I'm sorry. Sr.
No, sir.
I'm gonna make him suspect number 4.
Okay.
Now,
Imagined into reality
he's
for
trying
over
to make
95 years.
they got issues with each other. They ain't got nothing with
RS,
each other.
imagine that.
Doing is taking the blame off of Melly. They trying to take the blame off of Melly and blame everybody else.
On November 18th, based upon your phone analysis, going through the various phones, you get some mapping that the shooting may have occurred at a trailer park. Correct.
One cell phone, the cell phone of Chris Thomas, hit off of a cell tower near a trailer park, Holiday Park. We didn't have anything to accompany this other than a cell site in the sector. So that was all we had to work with at that point, was that one general area.
Could you answer my question? On November 18th, based upon whatever analysis, you go to Holiday Park, Trailer Park, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's based upon some analysis of a phone, correct?
The cell tower, cell site, yes, sir.
You find absolutely nothing.
Correct.
And you learn that basically you went on a wild goose chase based upon your analysis of that one phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
Approximately 1 month later, on November 21st, you find the scene with the 8 casings, 8 projectiles.
8 spent casings, sir. Projectiles and casings are different.
I get those terms confused. I apologize. And we saw about 50 pictures of those 8, what are they?
Casings.
Casings, right?
Yes, sir.
Looking at the south end, the north end, the east end, and the west end, right?
Yes, sir.
7 days later, do you search the Jeep again?
I'm not sure when we went back to the Jeep.
If I showed you something that would refresh your recollection,
Yes, sir.
let's see if I can find it. Can I have my remote, Ron?
Yes.
Don't look for it for them. Don't look for it. Let him look for it.
May I approach? May I approach?
Yeah, just identify what you're approaching with.
I'm looking at a report and a timeline. Yeah.
Yes.
Underneath trajectory rise.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on 11/28, you go back to the Jeep for the 3rd time, correct?
Yes, sir.
On December 4th, based upon the analysis of various phones or whatever, you, along with Miami-Dade Police and ATF, search a canal off of I-75, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was based on some pinging or mapping of the 9807 phone, correct?
It was not the pinging, that's the proper terminology. It was the true call data, which placed the phone near the C9 canal.
And both Miramar Police, Miami-Dade Police, and ATF, after searching the canal, find absolutely nothing.
Correct.
December 5th of 18, you meet with the medical examiner. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, approximately 3 months later, January 27th of 19, you execute a warrant on an apartment located at 5700 Tuscan Place, apartment number 307, Margate, Florida. Correct?
It was the 28th, sir.
The 28th, not the 27th?
Correct, sir.
Okay, I stand correct. On January 28th, you execute a warrant on that apartment.
Yes, sir.
That is an apartment belonging to Jameson Francois and Adira Scott, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's the same Jameson Francois that had some 16 million in his account. We're talking about the same person, correct?
Yes, sir.
You go there 3 months after the shooting with BSO officers, correct?
Yes, sir.
ATF officers,
Yes, sir.
K9 officers,
Yes, sir.
and the SWAT.
Yes, sir.
In that apartment owned by or rented by Jameson Francois, you find a 40 caliber round. Do you know?
Yes, sir.
You also find a storage key, correct?
Yes, sir.
That leads to a locker, a storage locker, correct?
Yes, sir.
You in turn execute a search warrant on that locker.
Yes, sir.
I think it's storage unit 5, if I can read my writing, 509, located on South State Road 7 in Margate, correct?
Correct, sir.
Now, I noticed it wasn't mentioned, or maybe I missed it. But in that locker, you found, did you not, a black holster, correct?
Yes, sir.
You found another black holster with a Glock back strap on it,
Yes, sir.
and a black holster with a magazine holder,
Yes, sir.
and various gun locks, correct?
Yes, sir.
No guns.
No guns.
Without telling us, you never, ever interviewed Jameson Francois to ask him about
GoDaddy is a
No.
partner that always
Good
puts you first.
It's getting good. Y'all
Start
told
today
you.
at GoDaddy.com.
the 3 black holsters found in that locker, correct?
I interviewed him after that incident.
You never asked him about those black holsters found in there, correct?
I'm not sure, sir.
You're not sure. And you never asked him about the gun locks, correct?
Correct.
And you never, ever, as we sit here today, know where those guns that were locked in his storage unit are, correct?
Correct.
And then on January 27th, I think you testified, Cortland Henry was arrested in Texas, correct?
Correct, sir.
You went out there, correct?
Yes, sir.
You knew he had a lawyer, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you went out there to question him, despite the fact that you were aware that he had a lawyer, correct?
Objection.
Maybe affirmed?
Proceed, Your Honor.
Yes.
You went out there, sir,
Yes, sir.
knowing he had a lawyer, correct?
Yes.
And you went out there to question him about this case, correct?
Yes, sir. Vote is right whenever I vote.
In fact, you were escorted out of the jail because the yelling between you and he got so loud that the guards asked you to leave, correct?
No, sir, that's a false statement.
False statement.
Whoa, whoa.
Now, there came a time that you issued a warrant for this young man's arrest, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the people that generally execute that warrant are the U.S. Marshals.
Yes, sir.
And you gave them a picture of this young man, which is, of course, standard operating procedure, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they, in fact, based upon the picture that you gave them, took someone into custody for a short period of time.
Sustained.
The person that the marshals took into custody,
Sustained objection.
do you know the person that the marshals took into custody based upon your picture that you provided?
Sustained objection.
Your Honor,
Still
further
opposed.
instruction.
Counsel, ask your next question.
On February 13th, Melly voluntarily surrendered, correct?
Yes, sir.
On February 14th, you conduct another search on US 27 and Johnson Street, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's also based upon your so-called analysis of various items that you looked at, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell this jury what you found.
Nothing.
Your Honor, maybe affirmed?
Sure.
Boy, it's some cricket stuff going on with this thing. With French father, whatever, French court.
May I proceed?
Please.
On February 25th of 19, you execute a warrant on Jameson Francois' car.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That was a 2016 Kia.
Kia.
Huh?
Kia. Yes, sir.
And find absolutely nothing relevant to this case, correct?
Correct.
No blood stain at all. on February 28th of 19, you, along with the assistance of, I think, the state, bring Jameson Francois into the state attorney's office, correct?
Yes, sir.
And miraculously, you get this phone 9807
Yes, sir.
from Mr.
Francois.
Jameson Francois, correct?
Yes.
You have, as we sit here today, no idea how long he had that phone, correct?
That's not true, sir. We kind of, from the interviews in the cell, in the interview from the jail calls tell us when it was, when the defendant talked to his mother and told her they need to get the phone over to track, which was Jameson Francois, so it was right about that time that we got transferred over.
May I have one moment? Or this would be a good time to break for lunch. So I can look.
All right. The young will take our lunch and recess now. We not discuss the case, don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in the presence. There's no research. We'll see you back.
Whoa. I'm gonna have to finish hearing this. Hold up. I got to finish hearing this. Hold up, y'all.
Hey, it's Adam from StreamYard. We have an exciting new feature to announce called Green Room, which is now available only on the...
Well, let me back up. When you met him, he pulled it out of his pocket, correct?
It was in a fanny pack.
Okay, he pulled it out of his fanny pack. And you never asked him how long he had it, correct?
Correct.
I'm gonna make him, because he had the 9807 phone, the 3 holsters in his storage locker, and the ammunition found in his house as a suspect.
Okay,
that would be number 6.
Number 6, Mr. Jameson Francois, the cell site data does not put him at the scene.
I'm not asking, there's no question pending, so I appreciate you offering.
See, y'all, see, this is what the attorney doing. He trying to cross-examine the detective in putting Francois in this. He putting him in this, but he's secretly crossing him over in this and saying something belongs to him. Nothing belongs to
So you get
Francois
the
in that car.
9807 phone from Mr. Francois. And as we sit here today, you don't know where the 3 guns are that were found and that were missing.
Listen, y'all, listen to this. See, he trying to tell y'all that them guns that they use allegedly belongs to Francois. But listen, this is what this attorney right here trying to do. He trying to take the blame off of Melly and put it on Francois, whatever his name is, his people.
From the holsters in his storage, correct?
Correct.
And you don't know anything about the gun lots, whether or not they are related to additional guns, correct?
Correct.
Now, we know that when Cortland Henry was arrested, he was wearing different clothes or a different shirt than what was portrayed by him as he walked out of the studio, correct?
He was arrested on the 26th.
I'm sorry?
You're right.
I said he wasn't arrested on the 26th.
Okay, you're absolutely right. We know that when you saw Mr. Henry at the hospital and compared what he was wearing at the hospital to what he was wearing as he walked out of the studio, he had on a different clothes.
Yes.
We also know that the victim's DNA was on Mr. Henry's shirt, correct?
Yes, sir.
We also know that Mr. Henry had GSR located on his hands.
2 parts GSR.
Now, when Melly surrendered in February of 19, I think it was February 13th.
Yes.
For all practical purposes, I think you marked case closed by arrest, correct?
Yes, sir.
When did Sergeant Williams from BSO get involved, if you know?
The exact date I do not know.
Would it was after you closed the case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who asked Sergeant Williams to get involved, and he's the one who supposedly did the trajectory analysis?
That actually transpired when the case was filed with the state attorney's office. So sometime late January 2019. And it's also been corroborated by the fact that when they turned over discovery to you, it said trajectory analysis pending. So that information was made available to you back then. We just had not started that portion.
Would it surprise you to learn that it was November 16th of 2021 that Williams was contacted by the prosecutor's office?
No.
That was 3-4 years after this event?
Yes, sir.
No way. No way. Trying to find out.
Would it also, you met with Sergeant Williams, correct?
Yes, sir.
And would it surprise you to learn that after meeting with you and looking at your reports, he put that aside?
I don't know, sir.
Would it also surprise you to learn that he came into this courtroom and said, do you know when Detective Polo from the BSO got involved in this investigation?
It was sometime before we went back to grand jury and re-indicted.
Would it surprise you to learn that he didn't get involved until February of 2022?
Yeah, that's surprising.
That was what? Close to 4 years after the event.
Yeah, because of the code.
Well, 18 to 22, isn't that about 4 years?
I'm just not arguing with you, sir. I'm just not arguing with you.
Would it also surprise you that after this young man surrendered and was charged with these murders, that years later there was a DNA analysis again done?
Yes, sir.
You're aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Heck of an investigation, I guess. I'm sorry.
You think he's smart? Get him a rap.
I apologize. Would it also surprise you that after the Jeep was searched and processed hours on 3 different occasions, that miraculously Sergeant Williams found additional evidence in the vehicle that obviously someone missed?
Yes, sir, I read that.
So someone did do their job completely.
Stay.
We have so far 6 suspects in this case. Cortland Henry, correct?
Yes, sir.
David Hedgepath,
Yes, sir.
a guy Bentley unknown because you didn't bother to look at that, correct? Bentley, correct?
We did look into it, we could not identify it.
Okay. Unidentified. Christopher Thomas Sr., correct?
Yes, sir.
The incident at Walmart,
Yes, sir.
Jameson Francois so far as suspects.
Yes, sir.
You also talk about a Montrell Roll as a potential suspect, correct?
I never identified Montreal Rule as a suspect.
Well, did you review some jail calls without telling me what they are? I don't want to get in trouble. Without telling me what they are, did it lead to Montrell Roll knowing some information?
He, I have to be careful, I don't want to upset anyone and cause a sidebar. There was a
It just
conversation.
requires a yes or no.
Repeat your question, sir.
Did Montrell Roll, because of information he may have known, become at one time a suspect?
No.
No. Did you interview Montrell Roll or his sister?
His sister, yes.
And without telling me why or what was said, that was because of some information, whatever that information was, dealing with these murders, correct?
Correct.
Now, there was talk, I think by you, at the request of the state, about a Jay Green.
Whoa, y'all know who Jay Green is. Jay Green is the other friend who Melly called on the phone.
Jay Green was someone who had, based upon your investigation, threatened this young man, correct?
No.
There was some tension between the two of us.
Did you bother to interview Jay Green?
I did not because.
It only requires a yes or no.
Okay.
So
No,
the
sir.
answer to your question is, and you keep writing those notes down. You did not even take the time to interview Jay Green, correct?
Correct, sir.
That's suspect number 8.
Wow. He putting Jay Green in. Jay Green, I got to show y'all this video.
There was also an individual by the name of Frito Bang that you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
Frito Bang, his real name is Frederick Gibbons, correct?
Correct.
By the way, Frito, they ain't been kind of quiet lately. I think they need to interview him. Since this case, Frito been kind of laid back. Yeah.
Frederick Gibbons was a rap singer, correct?
Yes, sir.
He lived right around the corner on the other side of the lake, where Melly lived, correct?
Correct.
There was also some talk on the various phones you analyzed of putting this young man on the plate. Right?
Yes, sir.
That is a fancy way or a code way of saying, I'm gonna kill him. Correct?
Correct.
And that was done by, let me make sure. That was done by Herc
Yes, sir.
and Goon.
I don't remember Guna, but I do remember her.
Did you take the time to interview Herc?
No, sir.
So that would be suspect number.
Objection, Your Honor, continue to discuss sidebar.
Like, I'm sustaining objection, just.
Yes, sir.
You were.
I'm trying.
No worry.
Yes. That would be suspect number 10.
Yes, sir.
There was mention about Goon, who was on various messages, also threatening this young man because he wasn't responding to her or any of the other upper echelon people in this gang called the Bloods. Correct?
Correct.
Did you talk to him?
Yes, sir.
Do you even know Goon's real name?
No, sir.
Do you know Herc's real name?
No, sir.
And I think you mentioned a guy by the name of Gino that also was, you reviewed some messages saying he's not responding to the various members of
The United Blood Nation?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Tell the members of the jury who Gino is.
Probably another gang member.
Do you know his real name?
No, sir.
We're now up to 13 suspects.
Yes, sir.
Why is he saying yes? You ain't
I
got
don't
to.
like to stop at 13. Some people think that's an unlucky number. So how about Quando Wando, who also threatened this young man? Did you bother to talk to him or investigate him?
No, sir.
Quando Rondo. Quando Rondo. Nah. Quando Rondo didn't do this.
We'll stop at lucky 14. I think that's 13. Now,
He didn't shoot no boy. Melly did it. Allegedly.
as a trained investigator, you would never intimidate any witness to a crime, would you?
Correct.
You would never threaten a witness if he said something you didn't like, would you?
No, sir.
You mentioned the name of Patrick Deloach.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you interviewed him as a potential witness, right?
Yes, in the presence of the state attorney.
Okay. And didn't you threaten him by,
I'm sorry?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
didn't you threaten Patrick Deloach without telling me what it is?
No, sir, I don't believe I threatened him. Did I advise him that lying to us could result in him being charged with a crime? Yes.
Stick him out, Morelli. They trying to get you. Quadrado didn't do that. Melly did.
You mentioned an Adrian Davis.
Yes.
Did you threaten him at all?
No, sir.
The agent ain't did that.
If someone would ask for an attorney, as you're questioning them, you would.
Sustained.
You interviewed Adara Scott, correct?
Yes.
Did you threaten her?
Did not threaten her, sir. I advised her that not being truthful and honest could result in her, her being arrested for accessory after the fact.
And go to prison for a long time, correct?
What's the objection?
Hearsay.
What he said, my understanding is.
Yes.
Not asking what the
No.
person might have said, what you said. Detective.
Yes. I had to review the statement, but I did advise her that lying to us could result in her being charged for accessory after the fact.
And go to jail for a long time, correct?
And that's what's in my statement, and that's what's in my statement.
And didn't you also tell Patrick Deloach?
Objection, hearsay.
It's what he said. I'm sorry.
You think being disrespectful. They gotta learn how to talk to people. See, this is a good part of the case. None of them names he named shot the boy. Juan Rondo, none of them. Green, none of them. It was Melly. Allegedly. Yeah, come on now. I just wanted to bring y'all back to this station. Cause this gonna help y'all in the case. It's gonna come back up. See, Francois gave them the money to get the car. I believe he gave them the guns. He all in it, allegedly. He in it. And he keep getting away with stuff.
Let's go to Patrick Deloach and see if I can refresh your recollection. May I approach?
Yes, sir. What are you approaching with?
A statement. And his words.
Whose statement?
Patrick Deloach with Detective Moretti and Christine Bradley present.
Thank you.
That conversation was not specific to the murder. That was
Excuse
specific.
me, did you in fact threaten to have him be federally indicted? Yes or no?
Yes, because of gun sales.
Gun sales. Did you in fact tell him that he would not see his kids for a couple of years?
Possibly.
Well, may I approach?
Yes, sir. Same document.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Golly. All right, Morale. You lying now. Why is he
Did
threatening?
you in fact threaten Jameson Francois?
The same answer, sir. We advised him that lying to us could result in their arrest.
Did you in fact tell him he would be deported to Haiti?
Yes.
Did you in fact tell him that despite the fact that he has lived in this country since he's been 5 years old, he would be deported to, these are his words.
Counsel.
I'm sorry.
Relevance.
I apologize.
Hitting witnesses.
Restate your question.
Did you, as a trained investigator, threaten Jameson Francois to be deported to Haiti, even though he's been in this country since 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Did you in fact threaten that he would not get fed and get any medicine in the Haitian jails?
I don't know about that in the conversation, sir.
What? Oh, I hope you ain't say that, Morale.
Threatening a witness is.
Objection, Your Honor.
Anyone ask the question? What's the objection?
Relevance.
Now, you overrule this relevance. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Do you think threatening a witness who tells you something that you don't like really gets to the truth?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Sustain.
Wow. All the trip.
When you questioned Jameson Francois, were you alone or did you bring immigration officers with you?
We were at the Chrome Detention Center, so of course the immigration officers had to be there.
Then you take your note.
May I approach?
Same state.
A different statement. Jameson Francois. Did you in fact tell him that the jails are overcrowded, in referring to Haiti? It's disease-ridden, it's a, excuse my French, a shithole.
Thank you. Objection noted, overruled.
I underlined it so you can see it.
Excuse me, counsel.
Oh. I,
Church is still registered.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor.
Abstain. Counsel, I've asked you a couple times.
I apologize.
It's so disrespectful.
Have you ever heard the term a key to an interview to get to the truth is you catch more with honey rather than vinegar?
Yes, sir.
Would you consider these threats that you gave to these various witnesses?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Abstain.
You obviously don't follow that technique.
Objection, Your Honor.
Abstain.
Let me show you the list of suspects that we talked about and see if this is true and correct. May I approach?
Sure, counsel.
He's so rude.
Warning. Some viewers may
so
find the following video disturbing. Please hold that discretion if you're willing.
Y'all okay, what I'm gonna do, real deal. I'm gonna go ahead on and stop right here. But this is one part. This is the part. This is a part that is gonna be very important in the case. This is a good part right here. My major parts are the parts that I showed tonight. So I want to ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that this was a drive-by? Or do y'all think it was a drive-by cover-up? Do y'all think it was a drive-by? Or do y'all think it was a drive-by cover-up? Tell me what you think over here in the chat. I want to thank y'all for watching because I'm into this case. And I want this man where he needs to be. Okay? Y'all like, share, subscribe. I'm out.